What is up, everybody? We are so glad that you decided to click on the podcast and take a listen today. This is going to be a fun one for us. It's a unique choices for us, and the reason we are picking these is because we are on a cruise this weekend. So we're having a blast in Cozumel and all that stuff. So when you're getting this, we are deboarding, disembarking, I guess they say, from our cruise ship, and hopefully we had a great time. Hopefully it didn't end like one of these movies that we're going to be talking about today. So with that said, I do want to remind you all that we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere else that podcasts are. And you can find us on Instagram at Movies That Make You. That's where you can see all the up-to-date movies that we're watching. You'll get feedback on when and where to catch those episodes, and also what movies we're seeing. And you can also see the movies that we're seeing on Letterboxd. And we have our lists there. The lists like movies that make you laugh, movies that make you cry, and movies that make you scream. They're all on that site. So check us out. That is at I Am Sprang. So Letterboxd at I Am Sprang, Instagram at Movies That Make You. Thanks again for listening to this. We're excited to share this. This is Kristen and I discussing a couple of movies about ships. So let's get to it. All right, we are back, and we are here for another episode of the Movies That Make You podcast. My name is Sprang, and we are joined today by my lovely co-host, Miss Kristen Sprang.
What's up, everybody?
This is going to be a fun episode. We're talking about one of Kristen's favoriteest movies of all time. It came up on actually, it didn't come up on the mom's list, did it?
No, but it's not my favorite, but
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. And we're pairing it with one of the crappiest movies of all time. Yes, that's correct. And the reason we are doing this, it's Titanic paired with Speed 2. The reason we're doing this is because we are on a cruise this weekend, and this is dropping on our last day at sea. And so we just thought it would be funny to talk about a couple of cruise ships that had lots of people on them that didn't make it.
And we're hoping we don't experience that. So
yeah, we're definitely expecting not to have any issues like that. But
super stoked for the cruise.
Definitely. What's your favorite? What are you looking forward to most?
I think I just love sitting on the top deck by the pool, just chilling. Got a drink, maybe some food, watching the kids swim, people watching. Looking forward to rock climbing, and they have a surf simulator, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you try that for sure. And I don't know if the boys are going to try that, but
it'll be interesting. I'm so excited. So Connor and Colton get to go on the cruise this time. Jacob and Zeke went with their mom before, so they've experienced it, but they're all looking forward to it. So I know it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we decided to kind of do it, just a little 4-night cruise to Cozumel, so should be fun. I've been on a few cruises before. We've been on one together, but this is the first. Actually, also another thing. This is our first time going on a family vacation without like grandparents and stuff.
We got this.
I know we got this. It's just a big step.
Yeah.
You know, like we are at a point where we feel like everybody's good. I think when they're younger, it definitely helps to have the extra hands.
Yes.
And I think it's also like grandparents want to do these things, and they're usually the ones that are inviting us on these big trips and things like that. Like a few years ago, we did the trip,
National Parks trip,
and that was awesome. I've never seen anything like that. I've never really had a desire to. It just wasn't on my radar, but it was awesome to go and see all the mountains and all the things that we got to see, the animals.
Yellowstone.
Yeah, so that was a blast. And then my mom likes to take us on trips and stuff too, and do stuff.
Disney.
We did Disney. Oh man, that was such a fun trip. And it was so funny because like Dad was like, "This is the last time we're doing this."
Well, we did 5 parks in 5 days, and it was a lot of walking.
A lot of money, a lot of energy. But it was, again, Connor and Colton's first time.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do the full trip, the whole week-long thing. We threw in Universal Studios for one day. And like we've talked about maybe doing like a little weekend trip, or if we're there for Florida, maybe go down for a day and do a park, but not do like the 5 days. It's just, but I mean, the kids did great on that
Oh,
trip.
they did.
I
They
mean,
did amazing.
we were up at 6 o'clock in the morning every morning,
Yep.
and we didn't get to bed till after 10 or
10 or
11 every,
11. Yeah.
because when you're spending that much money and you're going to these parks, you got to make the most of it. You got to get in the park as soon as possible, and when you stay on the premises, you get in early, and so it's like, but if you want to get in early, you got to get up early. So
Hmm.
we got in basically an hour before they open doors for the regular public, not regular people. We're all the same, but I don't want to sound bougie or like elitist or anything. Um, but it's a deal if you're a family that likes to do Disney or was thinking about doing Disney. Definitely stay at one of the parks that you get in early. It just gives you that extra time to um, that have rides and shorter lines and all that stuff. Like we got into Star Wars Land early enough that we got to ride two of the main Star Wars rides
Twice.
twice, because we were in there and we had reserved the time, but we were done with one of the rides so fast, we just were, and there was no line for the second one, so we just went right in, and then we had our reserved time too. So that was a blast. And I think we're gonna plan a trip to just the two of us to hit up Epcot and Hollywood Studios, because I want to see Star Wars Land again.
Yeah.
And without having kids, it's like you can focus on some of the other things that we didn't focus on
More
that
adult
trip.
things like with all the different countries in Epcot. The kids, they enjoy it, but I think they were kind of tired at that point. It was our last day.
And I was, with it being the kids' focus, it was kind of like they're gonna have fun on the rides,
Hmm.
and I don't want to like put them through, because I remember being a kid and being bored out of my mind doing some of that stuff, and I'm like, they've got enough rides here. We're gonna focus on the rides, and then that'll be our that'll keep us moving, and keep them engaged. But they had
But
a
yeah,
blast.
so 4 years being married and first family trip together. Plus, the kids, like you said, they're all old enough. Oldest is 14, youngest is 10. So I think they'll be fine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, should be fun. They're most looking forward to, like, Colton's most looking forward to playing basketball on a big boat, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I've never done that. And Zeke is most looking forward to the unlimited bacon.
Yes.
And I think Jacob and Connor, I haven't really heard from them like what they're most excited about. I think just the freedom of being on the boat
Just the
and
experience.
experience of it.
And Connor doesn't even know. Like
No
he doesn't
idea.
know what to expect. So
Yeah, it's crazy. And then our one excursion is pretty fun. We're just gonna get on it's a beach day, but to get to the beach, you got to ride a speedboat. So they've got some sort of speedboat that carries probably 40 or 50 people, and they're just gonna shoot us as fast as they can to the beach. And there's a unlimited buffet, Mexican buffet,
don't drink the
and
water.
yeah, don't drink the water. Sounds like a Dave Matthews song.
It is.
Yeah. Um, and so yeah, and we got the kids the unlimited drinks on the cruise too, so like they can get all the smoothies and all the non-alcoholic daiquiris and all the all that stuff. They're just that I think that's what Jacob's most excited about.
Yeah.
He's like, what we can get a virgin mango daiquiri, what? So, and what's funny, for me growing up is like we weren't a drinking family growing up, and but every single summer, like, we'd have a big family get together and stay on the beach, and we'd make virgin daiquiris. So like it was like kind of this like offshoot
It's a
of like,
treat.
yeah, oh, we got this strawberry frozen drink, kind of like a slushy or whatever,
Hmm.
but just with no alcohol. So it's kind of fun that he's excited about that, because that kind of reminds me of my time that I was on the on my
On the
summer
planet
vacations.
when you were
Yes, when
younger.
I was on the planet. Yes. One other thing I do want to mention. I don't know if we're going to do a podcast on it, but we're recording this the weekend before our cruise, and tomorrow night, Jacob and I are going to go see Scream. Special showing, Alamo Draft House. Again, they're not a sponsor, but I would love to have them sponsor us, because I'm a huge fan of Alamo Draft House. And if you um, have one near you and you like movies, definitely check it out. Um, but it's a special screening, and they're going to have a couple of the actors there for a Q&A as well. So I'm super stoked to see it. And I thought about it. It was the first rated R movie I saw in the theater. And so this is kind of like Jacob's first rated R movie in the theater.
Passing the torch.
I know. I'm pretty excited about that. And he is turning 14 this year. And I think it might seem a little young for some, but I feel like he's mature enough to understand. We've talked about it. Um, Language is just one of those things. He experiences language at school, and I'm there with him. It's not like I'm just saying, yeah, go ahead and watch whatever rated R movie you want.
Right.
It's I know this movie. I know there's not like a ton of nudity and all that stuff that's going to mess with his head. Um, there is the gore, but even when I watched it as a high schooler, like I didn't recognize the gore all that much.
It was
It
more
was
of the story that captured you.
yeah, yeah, and it didn't feel like it wasn't over the top like a Saw or a it wasn't super gory. There was violence, but it wasn't super gory. It was again, it's the mystery of it and all that stuff. So I'm stoked for that. That's gonna be fun. It just popped up in my email and I jumped on and I was like, I have to get 2 tickets. It was almost sold out. Like there were literally 5 seats left in the
Oh,
theater, and I
so
grabbed 2 of
crazy.
them and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, bad part is we went Thursday night and uh, I went up to the counter because it was like 20 minutes before showtime and there was nobody in the theater. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. So I went in there and went to the counter and she's like, oh, yeah, it got postponed to Sunday. So it was fine. We had a good talk and all that stuff. Um, and that's kind of is funny. On an upcoming podcast, we'll be talking about love languages with the boys, and Jacob mentioned on that his love language is quality time, like going and doing something alone with dad or mom or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
it feels like that's something special, and he feels loved when that happens. So it was really cool. He was chatting, he was texting almost the whole trip there. But I ended up putting some of my music on my stuff. I'm going to record some music and some of my original songs, and so I put that on, and so he was commenting and listening and kind of enjoying and then I'd speak to the song and what the lyrics mean and all that stuff. So it was a good time. And also as a parent, just being patient that like, just because he's texting with someone else doesn't mean he's not also here present with
Mm-hmm.
me. Like he is texting, but he's also responding to my questions and responding to us when we discuss things and stuff. So I purposely didn't say, put your phone away, we're talking. It's just like, no, this is just a casual hangout time. So, yeah,
Plus, it doesn't feel forced.
right. It feels very natural. We've got to sit in the car. We got to do something.
Right.
So let's chat. And he's used to that. And so that's a lot of fun. Oh, cool. So that's a little bit of a catch up on our family and what's going on. And that's fun. So let's jump into. We're going to start with the crappy one because we got to get it out of the way.
Okay.
All right. So first up, Speed 2. Speed. The first one was mind blowing, epic,
Loved it.
amazing. Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock. It put Keanu Reeves on the map. Like everybody knew him, but he was the dumb guy from. Whoa!
Oh,
I don't even know it. I've not even seen it. I've never
I've
seen it.
never seen it either.
Yeah, Bogus Journey.
Oh,
Whatever.
Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
Bill
Yeah,
and
see,
Ted.
like it. So he was in Bill and Ted, and I think he'd been acting for a while, but then I think Speed is what put him on. Oh, he's the next action star. It was such a unique idea. The bus is traveling. If it goes below 55 miles an hour, there's a bomb that's going to blow it up. Right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
terrorist act. It's like so that he has to get on the bus. He has to get off the bus. He's got to figure out a way to loop the video,
Deactivate the bomb and all the things.
and then the bus driver gets shot or something, and so Sandra Bullock has to drive the bus, and
She's like, I don't even have a license. It's been suspended. So we're like, yeah, you're perfect for this.
yeah,
Don't let it for speeding.
yeah, it's so perfect. So they ended up. I mean, it's just a great movie. If you haven't seen it, we haven't spoiled anything. That's just kind of the basic premise. He's got to get all the people off the bus and figure out how to find out who's doing it and stop them. I mean, it's just straight up straight up epic, just 90s action movie. Turn your brain off for an hour and a half and just have fun with the movie. Really great. So, how do you take something that's so epic as a bus that's moving at 55 miles an hour and you can't stop. How do you take that to the next level? Well,
You
they
make a
just
second.
you make a second movie, and it's not on a bus; it's on a cruise ship. That's what they decided to do. And Keanu Reeves is not in this, but Sandra Bullock is. Sandra Bullock signed up, so that's
And we love her, by the way.
we do. But everybody has a flop every now and then. There's also the main villain in the film is Willem Dafoe, who is one of the best actors working today. Um, and so he was in Spider-Man. He was in the original Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. He was in The Lighthouse, that movie we talked about
Mm-hmm.
a while back. But I mean, as far as actors, he's an actor's actor. Like everybody loves Willem Dafoe. Um, and so the fact that he's kind of in this as this, and this is one of the things that 90s action movies struggled with is the villain, and maybe they struggle with them today too, but the villain is just nothing but like they would call it, how they'd call it on stage production is chewing the scenery. It's like they're just all over the top, melodramatic, just everything's just nutso. I mean, from start to finish, he does not come below a 9 on the scale of just villainy,
Evil.
evil, and all that
So
stuff. So
bad.
there's not much nuance to the villain, is what I'm trying to say. There's another lead actor that kind of replaced the Keanu Reeves role, not the character because she talks about they're broken up or whatever. But Jason Patrick is the guy that comes in and he does an okay job. I think uh, it's just kind of a funny setup, and then of course it's just not as good of a movie as Speed One. So he's not. I think he's doing fine with what he's given. But what are your thoughts on Speed Two? What would you have to say about Speed Two?
Um, I, it was okay. Um, it was honestly just kind of dumb. The villain was a little extra. Um, Sandra Bullock did fine. I don't know.
Yeah,
It wasn't that great.
yeah. The motivation for the bad guy was that he used to work for the cruise ship company, and he was a technical engineer and helped them work out technology that could help them autopilot. And then he got fired, and so he's trying to take down this cruise company um,
It's got the revenge.
because he's trying to get revenge on them doing him wrong.
Hmm.
So I mean, he takes control of the boat, and uh, the boat thinks that it's going one way, and it's actually going a different way, and it's going to crash, and it crashes in. It is a long, like little scene where it's going up on the land, and the people are running away and stuff. Um, there's another part of it where there's a father who's got uh, a deaf daughter,
Hmm.
and he's treating her like a jerk. And so this guy, Jason Patrick's character, kind of is there to help him, and then she gets stuck on the boat, and they got to go find her. And
But
so,
he knew sign language,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that was pretty cool.
And he's taking Sandra on this boat trip because he wants to propose, but they've not been married or been together that long. But he's like trying to sneak. And he's been lying to her that he was a cop the whole like.
Yeah. What is that?
He's lying to her the entire relationship, and he's like, "Oh, but I planned this cruise. Let's go on this
Yeah,
cruise.
like
Oh,
that's
hey, I know I lied to you for the last 7 months, but will you marry me?" Like,
we're not starting off on the best foot here.
yeah. But Sandra Bullock was great. She played the spot on, similar to the first movie, and she's super cute, and all the silliness that the way that she plays that character is just so funny. Uh, so
That's about it.
that sounds about right
Yeah,
for
it wasn't
Speed
very
Two.
deep. It was very top of the water,
Yeah,
skimming.
nice.
Thanks. Y'all, I've been on it with these dad jokes lately. I don't know what's happening. It's all clicking.
Yep, you're becoming a mom.
Hmm.
Mom jokes.
Yeah.
Get the mom second level, second tier mom. All right. Well, that's kind of all we got to say about Speed Two. If you like Sandra Bullock and you want to kind of see how that character progressed from Speed One, give it a shot. Just don't have your hopes very high on it. So let's talk about Titanic.
Oh, Titanic. Oh my goodness. First of all, I found when I was a kid, my stepbrother Stephen, he was all into this boat, and I guess I didn't realize how big it was at that time. And so I started doing my research in just the story of how it was built, and it just blew my mind. Things that are kind of out of this world big or really unique or anything like that, I really just gravitate towards that. It's just so interesting to me. And so finding out about this boat built in, I think it was in 1910, when it started. Its first, I believe it was what, 1914 when it took off. So, anyways, a long time ago, and it took a lot of people to build it. But to label a ship as unsinkable, just unique to me. So, and then its voyage, and besides the love story within Titanic, I just also find the people that were on that boat, the rich and the poor poor. It was just pretty cool to have all those dynamics.
I know they mentioned it some in the movie, but I'm sure there's other stuff like what was it just ego that made them? I know that's kind of how the movie plays it, but what made them crash and
Yes,
sink?
so they saw, well, first of all, they wanted to speed up. They were going, I believe it was not the captain, but, and it wasn't the engineer, it was maybe like a director or something. He was like, let's go ahead and get to New York early, a day early, because we are going so fast, and surprise everybody and make headlines. Well, they were going fast, but the problem was then it was too dark and there were icebergs. And with the icebergs, you only see the tip, and then obviously they're a lot bigger underneath. Um, but they were going so fast that they couldn't turn quick enough to avoid it. And so that it just scraped the bottom part of the boat.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I know. So the movie starts with submarine. The guy, the actor that
Yeah.
he was in Jaws 3, and I think he was in Twisters.
There's a Titanic too?
Oh yeah,
Oh no. Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
You thought Speed 2 was bad.
Oh no.
We're not doing Titanic 2. Sorry,
Oh.
folks.
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Bill Paxton is in this, and he's basically directing a crew of folks that are trying to investigate the Titanic. So they've got a submarine down there, and you're seeing it's kind of like present day for when the movie came out. Um, what's also crazy is that James Cameron, who directed this, you would know him from Aliens 2. He directed Aliens 2. He directed Avatar. He directed a movie called The Abyss. What's really interesting about the way that he picks his films and researches his films is usually there's a pairing between his film and um, and then he does this other project. So with The Abyss, he came out. It's an underwater kind of alien thing that they go down into the abyss of the water and they have to survive whatever. So when that came out, he did this whole other release that was like just more of a documentary style of like just talking about the ocean. So then when Titanic came out, he also did another pairing because he paid for and funded and did all of this stuff to research Titanic, to go down there and see all this stuff. So he's basically doing the work that he's paying for the work to be done so that he can make sure that he's being accurate with his project. So he does this other project that's kind of like a documentary of the Titanic and going and researching it, and that also is feeding the information and the how he's
His story.
his story
Okay.
and making sure that he's got it accurate.
That's cool.
So
I
I
want to
think
see that.
that's really what I love about him. Now, Avatar, different story because he's it's a different world and different universe, but he created technology to build that movie. The only other one I would say too is he also directed T2, which Terminator 2, which was by far the best. So he's got this real unique way of taking ideas and making them something more. And he did that with, like I said, Alien 2 and then Terminator 2. Well, then you get to Titanic, and I think one of the interesting things about this story and why I mentioned all that was that we know it crashed.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the movie, it's showing the crashed ship underwater in present day. And yet, the joke was, oh, I don't need to see that movie. I know how it ends,
Right.
right? Like our
My
parents.
stepdad, yeah.
Yep. Like
Did it not sink this time?
yeah. Did you watch it again? Did you know? It's like that whole mindset that like, and I think that this is something to make like I think a good point too is that we're in this era right now, and I'm one that I do not want movies spoiled. Like I don't want to know the ending. There's certain movies that the ending is a twist or it's something that's like if I know that it's going to ruin it. But when you go into Avengers Endgame, you know the Avengers are going to win. So it's not a spoiler to say, "Oh man, they defeated Thanos." Everybody knows they're going to win.
Mhm.
It's how they
It's the
did it.
story of
It's
it.
the story of it. It's the buildup. It's the drama. It's the relationships. It's how the storytelling, and that's what makes a master director and a craftsman is being able to tell a story where the entire world already knows the main ending. They already know that the ship is going to crash, and so you have that in the back of your mind, but you're distracted by the beauty of the script and the relationships and the story that's leading up to that, and then you're even more emotional, even though because you know what's coming, and it's
Right.
just this, just amazing, and the number one movie of all time,
Grossing?
grossing movie.
Wow.
Do you mind looking that up real
Yeah,
quick?
cool.
I know that um, Avatar, so Titanic had it for a very very long time. Avengers Endgame came in and I think took it, or Avatar took it. Maybe Avatar is now. And then Avengers Endgame took Avatar, and then they re-released Avatar, so Avatar took back the first place. And I think they re-released Titanic. So those are the top three highest-grossing films of all time. What does the list say?
Well, the budget was 200 million and the box office was 2.264 billion.
Yeah,
That's amazing. And this was in 1997
yeah,
when it debuted.
yeah. It's crazy. It held that spot for the highest-grossing film of all time for such a long time. And when you think about it, we know the ending,
Yeah.
but it's the story. It's the beauty of that love story. So the two main actors, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet. I had never seen Kate Winslet before.
Rose and Jack. I had neither.
Yeah, and I'd seen Leonardo DiCaprio before already in
Romeo and
Romeo and Juliet.
Juliet.
And he was also in a movie called Basketball Diaries. Now, funny story about his audition is that at that point, no, so he had also been in other. He'd already been nominated for an Oscar. He got his start in acting on Growing Pains as a kid. That played, I think, one of the last few seasons. He was a kid that was a friend, um, and was on that show. And then he did What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Mm-hmm.
I know he got nominated. I don't know if he won, but like that's just
Yeah.
as a kid to get that Oscar. And so then by the time it gets to Titanic, he's not reading for these roles. He's not going in and auditioning. He's not even meeting the director. Like he might meet the director, but he's like, I don't read a part to get the role. Like that's
Interesting.
at the point that he's at in his mind and in his thing. And so I just recently saw a story where James Cameron was talking about that he's like, no, I need you to come in and read. And so he comes in and he's super pissed. He's so mad and he's not hiding it. And he's just so frustrated. He's like, I'm better than this. Like, why am I having to stoop to this level? And as soon as he said action, he becomes Jack, and it's just like James Cameron was like, I
That's it.
I knew it right then. I knew it right then.
He might have a bit of an ego. I've always kind of felt that about him, but you know what? That's okay.
When you
You do it.
when you get an Oscar nomination when you're young and you've been so successful, I mean,
And he's cute.
he's
He's
cute.
so cute.
I think after Romeo and Juliet, there was a movie called The
Oh,
Beach,
yeah,
not
yeah. The
Beaches.
Beach.
Beaches is a different movie altogether with Bette Midler. But The Beach, which was an interesting movie. But I think the other thing what's also interesting about that is when you think about Titanic, um, him putting James Cameron through that, it was kind of the opposite with Romeo and Juliet. He hooked up with Baz Luhrmann, the director, early in the process and actually worked with him on shooting like concept clips of what it was going to be like so that Baz could get funding for the film.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like he valued that. He's like, I want to, he got in early enough. He's like, and partly probably because he had the role. He probably didn't have to read for it.
Mm-hmm.
Baz is just like, hey, you want to do this? And he's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then he's like, oh, I love this. Let's do it. Let's, and we need to show people what it is, because it's such a unique idea to have Shakespearean language in modern day.
Yes, modern day setting.
And so they had to like shoot that to show the producers and everybody like, this is what we're going for.
We can make it
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, the other thing I want to really highlight on Titanic is the music. The music was so incredible. It made you feel all the things. And it just, even to this day, like when I'm working, sometimes I'll just put it on to listen to it. And I remember I was in gymnastics at this time when the movie came out. I think I was 13. And I'd seen it a few times in the theater. Oh, and it was a really long movie too. So that was
mhm.
also kind of a cool thing. I think over 3 hours. But we would put it on at the gym, and the boys club would get so annoyed with us girls because we got to choose the music. The boys group was so small, they didn't get a choice. So, but yeah, I just love it.
I know that's a whole other like it's just a whole other realm or a whole other chapter of this movie. Is it took the world by storm. That's why it was such like that did over $2 billion like at the box office, because it wasn't just the Titanic. It's not the Titanic. It's Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet. It's their relationship. It's this love story that's super epic, and like it's class story. It's rich versus poor. It's
Hmm.
all of that. Then you throw in freaking Celine Dion on
Yeah.
top of that, and she has this banger of a song that everybody's just like tearing up on whenever it comes on the radio. Everybody's crying because it's just the most amazing song. They've never even seen the movie, and they're like, "Well, I got to see the movie now." And
Hmm.
it's just like perfect storm of just all this stuff. And James Cameron did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
James Cameron, oh,
It really highlighted all the things that really happened, and it actually changed the way that cruises work now. They make sure that there's enough boats to save everybody on board.
yeah,
You have to do a safety protocol. All these things. It's not a joke, you know.
right. And there is no such thing as an unsinkable ship. I mean, it's just that
Yeah.
that ego of that. I mean, I get what they were trying to accomplish, and they felt like that they had engineered such a beautiful ship. And in most cases, yeah, probably. But you also have to use your brain
Right. I mean, there's
and be
forces of
reasonable.
nature.
Yeah, like if it had just been going like the slower speed, and like little
Hmm.
decisions that they don't think anything of at the time that end up causing these huge catastrophes. Um, but I like I have to say Billy Zane played Kate Winslet's Rose's boyfriend at the time. I think they were fiance.
Fiance.
Yeah, and then of course you've got um, what's her face,
Kathy
Kathy
Bates
Bates. Yes,
for the
on.
unsinkable Molly Brown.
Oh
Or
my gosh, she's
not
epic.
Molly Brown, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, because it said Margaret Brown was
Oh,
her
okay.
character, but I think
Yeah.
I think it was the
Maybe they
unsinkable Molly, something like that. Maybe that was her nickname.
maybe. Um, but I mean, it's just crazy. It's just she's such a great actress. She plays funny roles, but then she plays super serious roles. I know one of the movies that we'll probably watch this year during our Halloween October movie list is Misery. That's a Stephen King book. She plays the super fan of this author with Ed Harris. So such a great. That's how I'd seen her. I'd also seen her in Waterboy. She was Adam
Oh
Sandler's
yeah.
mom in Waterboy.
That's a funny
So
one.
just so great, such a great actress, and she played such a pitiful role because she's rich. She's not generational rich. She's like got money, and she's American,
Mhm.
and so it adds this layer to that table where there's the dining table where they're sitting with these super rich British folks and Kate Winslet Rosen, and then how does Jack get set at the table? Is it because of Margaret?
No. So the way that they met was Rose was mad that her mom was wanting her to marry Calden, and she didn't want that life because at this point women couldn't work. You had to either marry up, and Calden was rich. And so she was just all upset, and she just decides, I'm going to end this. And she runs to the end of the boat and was contemplating jumping over. And she fell and slipped. Well, Jack was there just out walking around and he saw her. So he ended up talking to her and talking her off the ledge, literally, brought her over. But when they fell down, security saw and it just didn't look right. So, anyways, to thank her or to thank him, I guess called in, said, "Hey, you should have dinner with us."
Got it. Yeah.
And then Molly Brown was the one that lent him her
The
son's
tux.
suit.
Yeah. All that
So
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh man. Such a great intro to the relationship too, because it's like from a storytelling perspective, like this guy must be a jerk because she wants to end her life
yeah.
instead of marry
Well,
him.
she didn't want that life that her mom wanted her to
Right.
live. She wanted to just basically be like a modern day
Hmm.
female. You don't have to have the rules. You can work. You can ride horses the regular way, not side saddle.
And that's where the Kathy Bates character too plays into that, because here she is,
Mm-hmm.
she's a self-made woman.
Yep.
Like she can do it. So it's also that kind of that dichotomy, or that where the tension at that dinner table just becomes so, there's so many different angles and layers to it. So
And the Irish folks were the poor people and they had this fun dance
oh
party
yeah,
and
that was
on,
awesome.
their deck, and I
Hmm.
just love that music. I love Irish music.
Yeah. And then there's the famous scene, and I don't know that I've seen it to this day, where she says, "I want you to draw me in this,
Oh
like one
yeah.
of your French girls, and
And
only
only
in."
this.
Yeah. But I remember seeing this in high school, and it was kind of crazy because it's one of those things where this is a good conversation to have. Nudity, we just talked about. I just mentioned it in Scream. Like, there's not a bunch of nudity. Nudity in America is something that is taboo, but it's also the kind of the sexual nudity is where the tabooness happens. There is in a PG-13 movie, obviously, because it's in Titanic. There's other PG-13 movies, so breasts are allowed to be seen, and butts are allowed to be seen in PG-13 movies. It's happened. It's a thing. It's not a all the time, but it's definitely there. Which is another reason why even some PG-13 movies, like I'm like, hey guys, let's just, not because I want to hide breasts from the boys. It's just,
You don't want to put them on a stage.
yeah, I don't want them. I don't want them to begin to. I don't know what it's going to do to their psyche. So, and how it's going to affect them and make them desire things and all this stuff, and then start
Yeah.
idolizing women, or like not idolize,
Fantasize.
fantasize and objectify
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. Like I try to avoid it, but there's a sense where it's like it's just a human body. It's just, there's
Right.
nothing to be scared of. But and I think one of the reasons why it's the rating folks allowed this to be in a PG-13 movie is because it is a scene where it's an artistic scene.
Yes.
It's not, now there is a sex scene, but there's no nudity in the sex scene,
Correct.
and so there's this sense where this scene is just a more artistic um, moment, and so yeah, there's it's interesting. It's interesting.
It is the one reason why I'm not super stoked to let the boys see it right now, honestly. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I was only 13 when I saw it, but I just I feel like it, or we let them watch it and then we just go past it. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
It's there's a balance there, and I think right now, because the younger two are under 13, and I think there's a, maybe when they get a little older it'd be fine, but
Yeah.
there's a balance there. And this is a parent edition, and it's we would
It's
love to have
tough.
your thoughts. Comment on our Instagram, like with how you deal with this, because um, I want to have a balance, because the conservative puritanism of don't let them see nude bodies, not necessarily healthy either, because then it's just fabricated in your head. Where's the balance? How do you
Right.
find that between seeing a woman as beautiful but not objectifying her, and not like
I think it's
hiding
just
them?
having the conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, hey guys, here's the thing.
yeah,
You're gonna see a naked lady, like full naked, you know,
yeah.
but I
But
don't
it's
know.
not something to laugh at. It's not something to like go crazy over. It's just see it for what it is.
But it's okay to be embarrassed or feel
Yeah,
funny. That's normal too.
yeah. because like even if you go to a beach or something,
Right.
and there's people that are in thongs or whatever, it's like having the conversation and just saying like, hey, this is no, we don't stare. That's not polite to
Or take
stare
pictures.
or take pictures. It's not what we do as responsible and respectful men. But don't be scared. Like don't freak out.
Yeah.
Don't. It's not. Trying to find that balance and growing them up in modern world is just it's just tough because um, I grew up where it was a no-no. Like you don't look, you don't see that, you don't watch that, you don't do that, and then like sheltered from it. That then it ends up being this thing that I'm seeking out because it's such a bad thing.
Taboo.
But
Yeah.
it's not like it's human body, and there's definitely a maturity standpoint for when it should be addressed or whatever. But I don't know. So yeah, so that kind of that relationship jumps from forward. They end up having sex in the car. No, they don't even show anything except the hand on the window.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a sensual moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then the accident happens, and then it's trying to get out. And I think for me, like another point I wanted to mention was the scenery, the set of that staircase, and when
The
she sees him,
clock. Oh, the clock.
yeah,
Meet me at the clock. Make it count.
yeah, it's just so epic. And I think it becomes even more epic when the water starts coming in, and it's like
Yes.
it destroys all of that beauty and all of that stuff that they had spent. Of course, the engineers that built it, but then also the sets that for the movie. It's like all that work is now like being demolished with all this water, and it just takes over. And then it's trying to get out, and then it's I mean, how long is that? It's like 30-45 minutes of just trying to, maybe even an hour, I don't know. It's a lot of the movie is the accident happens, and now it's trying to get out of the boat, and there's all that tension and all that suspense of like, can we get out of this room? Okay, we got out of that room. Okay, we got to get here.
Very stressful. And then to think about it, I mean, this water, you're in the Atlantic between England and New York. It's cold.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold. And it was in April. So,
yeah,
crazy.
But yeah, it's not a beach cruise. It's not a Caribbean, not close to the equator water temperature. You're right. I mean, it's super cold. And I think one of the other epic scenes or epic moments is when the band is like packing up, and then they go, well, there's not room for us, so we're just gonna.
And they honestly played. That is a true story. They played as the ship went down.
Yeah.
Ugh. But the lifeboats that did get out with the people, they started packing them as much as they could. And then they got smart and decided, hey, let's condense over here, and then let's send out a couple crews to see if we can rescue anybody. But unfortunately, it was too late. They only saved, I don't even know, honestly. They only saved a handful of people.
Yeah, compared to the amount of people that were on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, there was definitely room on that door for Jack.
He was being a gentleman.
Yeah.
And what got me though is, I'll never let go. You let go. You let go. Yeah. But yeah, super sweet.
It's super sweet. But I love all the memes that have come out on that. Like that Jim Cameron, he tried to. Oh no! See, he tried to get on and it wobbled. He can't get on. Okay, that's good.
Move over, Rose. Give Jack
but
some
then
room.
I think also the don't let go. Like I thought that was funny too. It's like don't let go, and it's like, all right, I'm letting go. Don't let go of our love.
That's what it was. Yeah. I know there was more. It's more symbolism than actual.
And then I think we haven't even mentioned it yet, but the end of the movie is Rose older, and all that stuff. But she's got the stone. Mm-hmm. What is the heart? What is that? Remember the name of it? The heart of the sea or something like that.
The heart of the ocean. It's like La Cour de something.
Yeah, it's just this super epic thing that he got it for her.
Calden did. Yeah. It was her engagement.
And nobody had found it. Nobody knew where it was. They were looking for it.
That's exactly what they were looking for.
Looking for this huge, expensive jewel. And then at the end of the movie, she's got it. She throws it in the water.
Ugh.
I'm never letting go of this either, Jack. Oh, just kidding. Let's let it
Oh my gosh.
go.
I know it's funny to laugh at, but it was just
But it's,
so epic. It
yeah,
really grabbed me. I mean, even to this day, it's
yeah,
such a good movie.
it's definitely good. Definitely good. Well, cool. Well,
Check it out if you haven't seen it.
so yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I don't know if you're our age, you definitely have seen it. I would agree.
If you
But
haven't, you need to.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely worth it. Very good. But yeah, Speed 2, Titanic, the ships that crashed, and hopefully ours didn't.
You're crazy.
All right. Catch you next time.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed that conversation. I know we had a lot of fun talking about Titanic, and of course, Speed 2 was just a little bit, just silliness to throw in at the beginning. But man, Titanic is just one of those movies that really hits us, hits the world, took the world by storm, and all that stuff. So, hope you enjoyed those conversations. Next week, it's another Kristen and I parent edition. We're going to be talking about Will Smith movies, and that's in preparation for Bad Boys Ride or Die that comes out next week. And then the week after that, the boys will be back as we talk Inside Out in preparation for Inside Out 2. Man, what a great conversation. If you don't listen to any upcoming episode, I highly encourage you to listen to our Inside Out episode. The boys were super, super good at analyzing those emotions and looking at the emotions in themselves and giving examples. Such a fun conversation that we had, and looking forward to dropping that episode. The week after that, it'll be Father's Day, and so we'll do a Dad's Top 5 for that episode, so we hope you'll join for that as I share the boys my top 5 movies. It was a fun conversation as well. So until next time, keep watching movies.